This is the shirt I wore in the last episode, and if the intense fading of it is not symbolic, I don't know what is. Ladies, gentlemen, both, neither, and in between, welcome back to the channel. I'm a bit rusty when it comes to this, so I'm not quite sure how to start. Rap battles are dead. Cough. Sorry, what I meant to say is that this is indeed the final episode of Epic Rap Battle Reviews, but because 1920th, you weren't around for that series, I'll catch you up real quick. 2016 saw the rise of a couple different rap battle review series, and it was something that I found really interesting. So in October of 2019, I reviewed Bendy vs. Evil Bendy by Bob Jens. Then I did a few more, with the last one before the one you're watching right now being Super Smash Bros. Vs. PlayStation All-Stars by Bilo. Then once I started making battles of my own, reviewing rap battles without having made any good ones of your own was not uncommon. I shifted focus to that and never made another one, but holy shit, I tried like a billion times. I'm gonna quickly list just a few ideas I had as the big comeback episode of VRBR, and also give the thesis pretty much of each episode from the perspective of when I wrote it. Red vs. Anger. It sucks. Minecraft vs. Lego by Anime, which was going to be a collab with Zossum. It sucks. Bowser vs. King K. Rool by Uberosity, which was going to be a collab with Swisky, Michael Stark, and Simply Razzie.
Sometimes when
the Demon King and
Sucks. Best of Rap Battle Day 2020. Metal Sonic vs. Doodlebob by me, Eminem vs. Edgar Allan Poe by Fight Marker, Max Hadgerminton vs. Candle Cove by Game of Plush 64, Mr. Peanut Butter vs. Isabel by Eddie FRB, and Mr. Bean vs. Charlie Chaplin by Fredgy Canal. Best of Halloween 2021. Green Goblin vs. Green Goblin vs. Witched? The Green Fuckers from Discord Rap Battles. Dead Meat vs. Nostalgia Critic by Fight Marker. Slenderman vs. Waldo by Midgecat. Chucky vs. Pinocchio by Dilly. Evil Otto vs. Lavender Town Syndrome by Rabby. And was that Wario vs. Dracula by Gridline. Pac-Man vs. World's Hardest Game by Commander Jacob. It is my worst battle, and I hate watching it. Bendy vs. Bendy, but the review I made and not the battle itself. Shut up. Back to basics. I was gonna act like a teacher when it comes to writing tips and shit like that. Wario apparition battles. Commander Jacob vs. Eddie FRB. Even besides the very obvious terrible decision I made with mine, Eddie's is way better, but especially back then, I didn't want to believe that. Ethnic casting. The practice of casting a character of a specific ethnicity with a voice actor and, if applicable, body actor of that same ethnicity. Examples include Just Gamer as Ryan Higa, myself as Pancho Villa, Josiah Games TV as Eric Andrea. Main point is that I would like for it to be done by everyone all the time, but I've come to learn that that's not super realistic. Random battles that were submitted to me. I never wrote this one, so I'll just give my current thoughts on a few. Eminem vs. Tupac by Dilly is pretty alright overall. The voices aren't super accurate. And also an art battle for characters like these is a bit of a lame decision looking back. However, to be fair, both back then and it would seem for the foreseeable future, there's not a whole lot of black people around here, especially with green screens. Kirby vs. Galactus 2 by Discord Rap Battles. I like the Galactus art, but everything else is kind of meh. Jack the Ripper vs. Zodiac Killer by Rap Clash. This shot's kind of cool, I guess. Compilation of my favorite lines. I got so desperate for an episode that I tried doing a goddamn clip show. So why? Why did none of these work out, and why has it been so hard for me to come back to Epic Rap Battle Reviews? Well, to explain, I present to you
the top 4 reasons it's been hard for Jacob to come back to Epic Rap Battle Reviews.
I'm not that articulate. I found that there's only so many ways I can say, this battle smells. This is a small community. Like, I can't make a video saying, hey, this thing you made, yeah, that shit sucks, and then join a call with them, like, the next day to play Jackbox or whatever. Does my opinion even matter? In the likely case that you are, in fact, not Dustin, this is just a hobby at the end of the day. Rap battles are supposed to be silly creative projects most of the time, and while being critical of one's art is important, I can very easily see a review in the style that I used to do being discouraging to someone. And deep down, I've never really had that intention.
I got the horses in the back. I'm on the attack. You need a tic-tac. I spit bars and facts.
Somehow. The only time I'd fully discourage someone from making a battle is when it's, like, pretty offensive, or it's clear that the production process is doing nothing but stressing the creator out. At that point, it's not worth making. So as you can gather, I don't like this series that much anymore. I don't really like the subgenre period. I don't even really like the previous episodes. Watching them all back, I noticed that critiques become repetitive often, and also in the case of Smash vs. PlayStation specifically, it just gets way too mean-spirited, and that's the last thing any of us need. Not to mention these impressions suck Rex's dick. Impeccable comedy. So think of this video as a burial. of a corpse that's been rotting in the living room for about 4 years. Rest in piss. I will say, the most recent idea I had for the ERBR comeback would be getting rid of the name and doing the series in the form of shorts. People submit battles to me, and I summarize my thoughts on them concisely. So if that's something you're interested in, I've left a Google form in the description. Hello, I'm from the future. I realized while editing that I don't actually want to do this you submit battles, I review them thing, but I did make this good point with it. No criticizing a battle made 10 years ago as if it was made 10 minutes ago. No going through the entire thing, start to finish, pausing at every single line to make a snarky comment. All that shit should stay in the past. So if that's something you got excited about, awkward. I have no clue if I'm actually going to do this, because with everything I've explained thus far, the concept of me doing any kind of battle review, even now, does put a bit of a bad fog in the air. But even if I do, this is definitively the final episode of If anyone out there was actually a fan of ERBR, you're either dead or a liar. Hello, I'm from the future. I'm also less of a cynical asshole. What I do want to say to the fans of ERBR genuinely is thank you, because this series was the first thing I did that I felt like people gave a shit about. I had been making YouTube videos for years before the Bendy vs. Bendy review, and not that much passion went into most of those videos, and pretty much none of them stuck with anyone else. ERBR changed that, so thank you. I mean, how the Woody vs. Chucky review is still one of my most viewed videos ever, and while that does bother me a tiny bit, I still do appreciate it. Plus, it led to me not only making my own battles, but meeting a lot of the people who would become my best friends. So, thank you for that. And just know that this video is a culmination of all the struggles I've had with this series since the last episode, and I just needed closure, pretty much. I'm still working on my own battles. I'm really proud of a lot of the shit I got coming up, so I hope you guys are excited about that. But with that said, thank you guys for watching. Drop a like, sub, and or comment if you feel like it, and I'll catch you later.